Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Smark and Soul podcast. I'm your host for this week, Jack. I'm the Smark, and I'm joined once again by the Soul, Sam, who once left Chris Jericho a 1-star Google review of him as a person.
Yeah, that's true. You can find it if you just Google Chris Jericho. For some reason, I was able to leave a review this one time on Google. I think it glitched.
Yeah.
And yeah, I left him a 1-star review. The Painmaker, however, I gave 5 stars to.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
His little, I don't even know what to call it without seeming offensive to someone.
I don't know. His divorced dad gimmick, I guess.
Yeah, right. Fucking hell. We're not talking about Chris Jericho this episode. This episode, it's a special episode for the Smark and Soul podcast. It's TNA. It's our first look at TNA. We're looking at TNA Lockdown 2005, which was on April the 24th, the night where pretty much a wrestling company looked at a steel cage and went, yeah, what if all matches? With all that aside, before we start properly, though, I just want to spend a minute on Chris Candido. So this is the show where he got hurt really badly. He landed on his leg. It didn't really look that bad initially, but it was. He had surgery the next day to fix it. And then sadly, a few days later, he fell ill with pneumonia and he was rushed to hospital and he died soon afterwards. What we're going to do is we're going to cover this show like we'll cover any other show, which includes his match in it because it happened and TNA kept it on all the DVDs and promotional materials after consulting Candido's family. So, but I just wanted to give a minute to say his name and explain it briefly before we got into anything else, pretty much. So, yeah, I don't know if you have anything to add, Sam, on that.
Yeah, it was a strange coincidence because, like, when I was looking into the show and just like for notes and stuff like that, I obviously saw that being kind of like a big part of it. And it's literally he had the match on the 24th and passed away on the 28th. Yeah, it was really strange kind of watching the match. I know we'll get into it, but yeah, you know, it's always sad when a professional wrestler is doing something that they love and some freak accident happens in the ring whereby either they can't wrestle anymore or, you know, in the tragic circumstance like this with Chris Candido, it leads to, you know, their untimely demise because he wasn't old. He was in his 30s. No. I think he was 36 or 37. So yeah, I think, like you said, it's important to just mention his name and talk about him and just say this is a shitty thing that happened, but we're here to talk about a wrestling show and have fun doing so because that's what this podcast is about. It's about us watching some wrestling, having a laugh, and hopefully in a weird way we can honor Chris Candido by doing so. You know, that we were still able to be entertained by this show regardless of the tragic things that happened following it.
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to pay respect to him because obviously he was a very talented individual and well respected in the wrestling industry, and it was a fucking shock to everyone. So yeah. Moving on though, this is our first TNA show on the podcast. Some of you might not know that before they became a pretty much glorified feeder system to the WWE, which is what they are now, they were considered the number 2 wrestling company in USA and probably even the world, I guess, for a time. Some even thought that they would go toe-to-toe with WWE. TNA stands for Total Nonstop Action. Founded in 2002, it was pretty much a scrappy alternative to WWE. They're probably most known for their X division, which comprised of homegrown, fast, flippy, and high-risk performers, which is essentially the cruiserweight division with the handbrake off. They're filming this pay-per-view on a soundstage at Universal Studios in Orlando with an attendance of just 775. And their world title is currently the NWA title. It's not a TNA one yet. Jeff Jarrett holds it, and it's the big prize that everyone is after. So I've picked out 3 stories for some context running into this. So the first one is that basically Jeff Jarrett runs the fucking place. He's the NWA champion. He's pretty much beaten everyone put in front of him. And currently he's in a Team Jarrett versus Team Nash feud for the Lethal Lockdown match later on. Except Kevin Nash got pulled days out from the show, and there's also a mystery partner situation, which we will get to. Number 2, the number 1 contender match for Jarrett's title is AJ Styles and Abyss, which is the main event of this show, and it's highly anticipated, and let me tell you, it fucking delivers. Number 3, Christopher Daniels and Elix Skipper for the X Division title. I talked about the X Division, and oh god, these guys are pretty fucking good in the ring. They're young, hungry, they're fucking going after it. So they used to be a tag team, but they broke up recently. I think it was the year before.
I think it was December.
Yeah, they lost a cage match, funnily enough, and now they're facing each other in a cage, which is kind of cool, I guess. That's pretty much all the context you need. The broadcast starts off with a horror-like video package to hype up the cage, basically. The narrator speaks as if it is the cage, and we get like a creepy nursery rhyme as well. Then we're straight into the Impact Zone, where we're welcomed by the commentary team of Mike Tenay and Don West, who say this night will be historic and violent. And I mean, it was certainly violent. I don't know about historic, but yeah, definitely violent. For a small production though, I wanted to note that they've done really well with the camera angles, the lighting and the setup and everything. Like, it doesn't feel like there's only 770 people in there or so. Yeah, kudos to them. Yeah, before I get into... Oh no, we get a short backstage video of Kevin Nash, and the reason why he's not participating tonight is because he's got a nasty staph infection on his left leg, which therefore rules him out of Lethal Lockdown. Before we get into the first match of the night, Sam, I realise I've been talking for quite a while. Do you have any thoughts going into the first match that you wanted to get off your chest?
Oh my god, I have so many thoughts. The opening video package, do you know what it was? Did you ever watch that CBBC show Trapped?
No.
Okay, so basically it was essentially like Jungle Run. Okay, did you ever watch Jungle Run?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so it was like Jungle Run, except what you had was, there was this, I don't know why I'm going all the way into like the lore of Trapped, but it was a great show, and it was like 5 kids would be in this tower and they had to solve puzzles. But each floor, there would be a saboteur, and they all had these like little earpieces. And the woman that used to do the show Go Outside, which I know you know because you grew up in the 90s, she was the evil lady, which is just an incredible range of acting.
Nice.
But she used, like, they'd have the kids lined up at the start of the level, and she'd be like, she'd pick out one of them, and she'd be like, "Don't react, you are the saboteur. I'll guide you through your whisper clip." But it was giving very much Trapped from CBBC. So I loved the campiness of it. Like, I couldn't take the smile off my face.
Sam, I think you just unlocked a memory. I think I remember coming across this once and watching it once. And I didn't know what you were referring to until you did the impression of "You Are the Saboteur" and stuff. Yeah. I was like, oh shit, I remember coming across this at one point.
I used to watch it every day after school. It was tea. Because they would always pick the black kid at the end when they had to vote. They always thought it was the black kid, and I was like, that's interesting. But anyway, when we got to Don West and Mike Tenay says that all the doors in and out of the Impact Zone have been locked, which I think is a serious fire hazard and not something that probably should be broadcast.
And also not true.
Also not true, yeah. But also, shout out to the crowd during this show. I know technically it was like free entry, but you have to pay like Universal Studios admission, and then it's like a show inside. But you can tell that the people that are there, they're not just people who are like going out to Universal Studios for the day and like, oh, let's wander in. Like, there's people there with like TNA signs, wearing TNA merch, like they're TNA fans. And throughout the show, like, they keep up a noise level. So like, it's never like awkwardly silent or anything like that. Like, there's a constant kind of hum around the Impact Zone. So shout out to them, and then shout out to Kevin Nash, because I just thought that segment where they just cut to him like peeling off his plaster and kind of looking at it and being like, damn, still not healed. Like, yeah. I loved that. And then it had you guessing like, oh, who's gonna be the mystery man for Team Sean Waltman. We'll get to that, obviously. It was a massive fucking disappointment, but, you know, in the words of Taz, I digress. But I think that's everything I wanted to get off my chest so far.
Amazing. So match 1 is straight into it. It is Chris Candido and Lance Hoyt versus Apollo and Sonny Siaki. First off, it's fun to see baby Lance Archer, right? It's like...
Yeah.
That was really fun.
Wait, Lance Hoyt is Lance Archer?
Yeah.
Fuck off, no way. I was looking at him the whole time and I was like, I recognize you, motherfucker. I know who you are. Oh my god. Okay. Huge. Well, that's just changed my star rating of this match.
Also, fun to see the camera operator wearing like a full-on safety outfit as they're like crawling into the ring.
Yeah, I like that little touch.
Also, weird to see an actual tag match in a cage with like non-legal men having to position themselves between the ropes and the cage wall. Like, that's just really, really weird. But anyway, sadly, really early on, within literally the first minute, we see Chris Candido's leg injury, and he's helped to the back as the other guys in the match sort of vamp around a little bit and improvise. It's a very, very basic match, but I gotta say, it's pretty hot crowd for not even 800 people, even just for this opening match. Lance Hoyt uses his size advantage to dominate, but Siaki manages this incredible elevated German suplex off the top rope to hit on Lance Hoyt, and Lance Hoyt must be like, I don't know, 6'6" or something easy, or
He's
something
a big
like that.
Boy.
Yeah, and then Siaki manages to hit a splash from the top for the 3 count and the win in 6 minutes 58. Apollo didn't really do too much, a few moves here and there. I think the standout competitor was Sonny Siaki, really. Post-match, the Naturals come out. So this is the team that are kind of aligned with Chris Candido right now. And they blame Lance Hoyt for the loss, who has somehow miraculously recovered from being pinned literally seconds ago. And now he's just stood up and acting like it's a segment, an in-ring segment. Okay. And then, the Naturals just beat the fuck out of him while the bell rings. I gave this one a 1.5 out of 5. There wasn't really too much to hook into with this, and it's pretty obvious to see that Candido's injury affected the pacing and the ideas for the match that they had. And apart from the nice elevated German suplex from Siaki, there wasn't much to write home about. And also the post-match angle fell kind of flat, and I didn't like the non-selling. What about you, Sam?
Yeah, similar enough. I went 2 stars. I was a bit kinder, just because I felt like with Chris Candido's injury and, you know, everything we spoke about with that, you can kind of see that there's like a wee bit of panic that sets in. I do think, though, the 3 guys remaining, specifically, like you said, Sonny Siaki and Lance Hoyt, did do their best to kind of keep the wheels on it. Apollo, first of all, why have you spelt your name like that?
I know.
With 1 L and 1 P. That's a joke in itself. But yeah, I think they were put in a tricky position, weren't they? Because they had to kind of improvise like 6 or 7 minute match very quickly. And then I'm assuming that the post-match angle with the Naturals was improvised as well, or was just very kind of fast and loose. So obviously the wheels like kind of fell off this one, but it was understandable why they did. So I think it ended up being a very simple kind of kick punch, like scoop slam, leg drop match. But I think Lance Hoyt and Sonny Siaki did their best to kind of carry it on. Yeah. So I think my 2 stars is kind of like a sympathetic 2 stars of like 2 stars, but an A for effort, you know? And I think...
Yeah, that makes sense.
There was definitely, you know, going to be a lot of confusion going on. And obviously in the back of their minds, they've seen what's happened to Chris Candido. So they're going to be thinking like, oh shit, like, is he going to be okay? Like, that's someone that you're sharing the ring with. You know, that's something that you never want to happen when you're in a wrestling ring, is the person that you're with gets injured or, you know, anything like that goes wrong. A shitty note to start on, but like you said, the crowd was hot. They were into it.
But also, you did think that the post-match angle was ass, right?
Yeah, it wasn't great. It was, it was... Yeah, it was a bit shit.
Backstage, but this time we're with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. He's with Tracy Brooks and Trinity. I'm not going to pretend to know who the fuck they are. And reveals the wrestler entering Lethal Lockdown first will be Jeff Jarrett. And then the second man in is Sean Waltman. So all the stars are out tonight, Sam. Okie dokie then. We're into match 2. It is Bobby Roode with Scott D'Amore, so part of Team Canada, this stable, and A1 versus Dustin Rhodes in a Prince of Darkness match. If you're like me and you didn't know what the fuck a Prince of Darkness match really was, I'll explain it to you now. It's a 2 out of 3 falls match, but the third fall is with a blindfold on for some reason. Dustin's gimmick right now is apparently just being like the ultra Texan and being all American rah and wearing a big hat. Bobby Roode is part of Team Canada and they don't really like America very much. He laid out Dustin on the previous TV taping with a chair. So here we are. We are straight into the action with Dustin Rhodes on top. Roode then uses the referee as a shield briefly to distract and then rolls up Dustin for a very quick 3 count within the first 2 minutes and for the first fall. But there's some confusion, isn't there, Sam? Because the commentary team are like, that was a 2, right? But then they're quickly informed that it was a 3, even though there was no indication from the referee or a bell ring or any music playing that it was indeed a fall. But then we're told by commentary that it was a fall. So, okay then. Dustin then connects with Shattered Dreams, which is literally just a kick to the groin, and then a superplex for some near falls. Roode then regains control and slows the pace right down because he is the heel. Scott D'Amore is on the outside absolutely apoplectic. He's fucking hamming it up on the outside. You know, a crowd of only 700-800. He is acting like he's at WrestleMania. It's great. I love that energy from him. Dustin counters a chinlock with a big electric chair drop and then chucks Roode into the cage door, which swings open and hits the camera operator, which I don't know whether I should laugh or check on the camera operator there, but it was funny. I laughed at the time. Dustin then hits a bulldog off the top turnbuckle for the second fall, which, I mean, a bulldog from the top fucking turnbuckle? Okay.
Fine. Anyway,
we're tied one up, and then the fucking most stupid stipulation comes into play. And they're both blindfolded. They've got these black sacks on their faces, and they wander around the ring for a bit, and it's just stupid. And then they bump into each other like they're in a fucking Scooby-Doo skit. Scott D'Amore on the outside, he throws a chair into the cage. The referee gets clotheslined in this fucking chaos as well. Then D'Amore opens the cage door, heads into the ring. I don't know why you chuck the fucking chair in if you're just going to head in anyway.
Literally.
But then he gets hit in the back from a chair shot by Roode accidentally because Roode is blindfolded. So, oh no, Team Canada have started fucking each other up. Dustin then absolutely murks Robert Roode with a chair shot of his own for the pin and win in 15 minutes and 20 seconds. I also gave this one a 1.5 out of 5 because it would have been fine if the final fall wasn't a stupid fuckfest and it was just a normal fall. Even with the final fall not being what it is, it would probably just be a 2 out of 5 at best for me. And it was also, at the very least, 5 minutes too long, even for a 2 out of 3 falls match. For 2 out of 3 falls matches was pretty quick, I guess. But I mean, both guys are decent workers, but this just wasn't it. What do you reckon, Sam?
Yeah, this was fucking shite.
Yeah,
I also went 1.5.
Nice.
That first fall just completely botched the count, and like you said, the commentary team didn't know. They obviously had to be informed through their headpiece, no, yeah, that's the finish for the first fall. But all I could think of then is, imagine if you were there in attendance. There's no indication, like you said, from the referee. There's no bell ring, nothing. There's no reset or anything. They just kind of keep wrestling.
So Dustin won 2-0.
That's what it looks like, right?
But then they had a third fall.
Yeah, it's like they just went to penalties anyway. Then, the second fall was fine. It was just an average TV quality match. And then you get to the third fall, and it's... Not only have they called it a Prince of Darkness match, they've called it a Prince of Darkness death match.
Yeah.
In which we see one weapon be used, and it's kind of like the base level weapon that you use in wrestling. It's not It's not a chair wrapped in barbed wire. It's a chair. It was, yeah, and it's just like 2.5, 3 minutes of like both guys kind of stumbling around, looking for each other. Like, here's where I've done my rebooking, Jack.
Okay, yeah.
I think, obviously, when I rebook these things, I never go as in-depth because it just kind of comes off the top of the dome. But what I was thinking at the time was, well, if you have Bobby Roode as the heel, right? And you've got Scott D'Amore on the outside, and he is able to make his way into the cage, why don't you have a spot where, like, Scott D'Amore's had some scissors in his pocket the whole time, and he knows that if Bobby Roode puts that, you know, the balaclava on, he's just gonna cut some eye holes out.
Yeah, nice.
There's some kind of suspension of disbelief there with the referee, but if he's been knocked down, you cut the eye holes, then he hits his finisher on Dustin Rhodes, and then the referee comes to, and he counts the 3. And then that's it. And then you have the heels go over, like this kind of young up-and-coming team in Team Canada, go over on Dustin Rhodes, who doesn't really need the win. Have that, and you build some heat on Team Canada for further down the line or whatever. This was just shite. It was a bad idea in the first place. Like, who backstage was like, okay, here's what we're going to do for the third fall. We're going to make it different. We're going to have it be... you're going to put 2 bags on your heads, and then you're going to wander around each other, and then something's going to happen, and Dustin's going to go over. Fantastic. Yeah. Wow. 5 stars, Booker of the Year. Yeah, it was shocking. Especially, I think, because of the 2 guys that were in it, you expect more. Like you said, they're 2 good workers, like they're 2 notoriously good workers, and this just... I don't know, maybe they just didn't have the chemistry with each other, because...
It happens, doesn't it?
Exactly, yeah, this was not it, Chief.
No. Backstage again, where Shane Douglas is interviewing the current X Division champion, Christopher Daniels. He bigs himself up and hypes up the match. Elix Skipper then interrupts him, and he mumbles some fucking nonsense about the time being right, and then just walks off, and then Daniels walks off too without a rebuttal. So, all right then. Match 3. It's Michael Shane versus Sonjay Dutt versus Chris Sabin versus Shocker in an X-Scape match. So, Michael Shane, also known as Matt Bentley, is Shawn Michaels' cousin, for a fun fact. And this is basically a 4-way elimination match in a steel cage, but only 2 guys in the ring at one time, which is a little bit silly. It's a number 1 contenders match as well for the shot at the X Division title at Hard Justice. Yeah, here we go. It's a nice flippy boy athletics from Sonjay Dutt. He looked pretty okay. Sabin is just a fucking god at pro wrestling, isn't he? Chris Sabin's so good. Hail Sabin. Dutt and Shocker then double team Shane, and Dutt and Sabin double team Shane as well. Dutt's elbow then starts bleeding. The flippy shit continues as Don West exclaims that the wall of the steel cage is like a wall of steel. Okay then. There's some nice springboard moves from Sabin and Shocker. We get a short but cool submission spot with a tarantula in between the cage and the ropes, a chin lock, and a Boston Crab. For some reason, there's quite a few pinfall breakups after some pretty insane moves that would put away anyone in an elimination match. Yeah. But yeah, just weird to see the pinfall breakups. Shocker pins Dutt after falling on him via a corkscrew for the first elimination at 10 minutes 45. Shane and Sabin go at it on the cage wall. Trinity then climbs up from the outside. Tracy tries to stop her, but fails. Trinity to the top of the cage and fucking moonsaults into the ring onto the 3 remaining guys, which was fucking insane to see. Sabin then eliminates Shane at 14 minutes, and now it's apparently turned into an escape the cage one-on-one match, which I guess an escape match is. Elimination until that. Both guys climb over the top and fall down pretty much at the same time, but Shocker hits the ground probably like a split second first and wins in 15 minutes 42 seconds. I gave this one a 3 out of 5. I love me some flippy shit X Division, but it did feel like they were sort of moving from spot to spot, and the tagging in and out kind of hurt the the stakes. It's meant to be a 4-way.
Yeah.
And you can have some allegiances and stuff. I just didn't really like the tagging. Slightly above average match ultimately. The lack of explanation of the match type sort of hindered it as well, because I mean they called it an X-Gate match, so you can connect the dots, but before all the other matches they fucking gave some sort of explanation. So I don't know why not for this one. But anyway, what are your thoughts?
I was a lot kinder to this, I think, because of the 2 matches that came before.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I ended up going 3.75 for this.
Okay. Nice.
I thought it was streets ahead of the first 2 matches. I really liked that 4-person submission spot with the Tarantula, what was it, like a Tarantula, Boston Crab, chin lock. Yeah, I was a big fan of that. And it was something that, you know, like you always see that like 4-person Tower of Doom spot in a Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah.
Like, this is something that I haven't seen before or since, and I'm surprised at because it looked really cool. I did think that this match kind of showed, again, this weird obsession that TNA had with, like, making up weird rules for their matches to, like, entirely separate themselves from WWE. Yes, every match is going to be in a cage, but then we're going to change the rules for part of the match. So it's like you have a Fatal 4-Way, but the guys have to tag each other in, and then it's an elimination, and then when it gets down to the final 2 guys, you have to escape the cage. And it's like, there's too much going on. Like, just make it an elimination 4-way, where you don't have to tag in and out. MVP was Trinity's moonsault, because holy shit, that was picture perfect. She kind of struggled to get up to the top of the cage, like to get her footing and stuff, because I think like the wiring and stuff, like with like Hell in a Cell matches or like steel cages in WWE, you can see that they've got like little footholes almost for if they are going to do a spot like that, whereas they didn't have this, so she had to kind of like really daintily climb up the top. But once she got up there, Jesus Christ, that was like, you know, that one Kurt Angle moonsault that always gets replayed from the top of the cage. It was straight up, it was on par with that. It was so good. It was kind of like a TNA version of Lita, I think. I feel like that's what Trinity's thing was. That's certainly how she looked in like her packaging and stuff. But yeah, I had fun with this. Sanjay Dutt was over as Rover with the crowd, which was nice to see, you know, an Asian man not be like rah-rah foreign heel, especially when you had the Muhammad Hassan angle going on in the Fed at the same time. But yeah, Chris Sabin, like you said, incredible. Shocker was pretty cool. And Michael Shane is related to Shawn Michaels, so that's cool for him, I guess. Yeah,
Shawn trained him apparently.
Could have done a bit of a better job, but anyway.
Yeah, we then get a recap of Candido's injury. And it's in like really, really excruciatingly slow motion as well. We then get a quick B-movie video package to hype up Jeff Hardy versus Raven.
Hell yeah.
So Jeff Hardy like mumbles his way through a conversation with someone in like a fucking backstage bit. And then Raven in the crosscuts is just sitting with a straight jacket on. So, okay. We have this match essentially because Raven wanted Jeff to join him and he refused. And now it's a tables match inside of a cage. So there you go. It's match 4. It's Raven versus Jeff Hardy in a tables cage match. There are a bunch of tables already in the ring. Jeff comes out with chairs in his hands and like swinging around and stuff. He misses the cage door entrance and then double back on himself, and he's like, yeah, I meant to do that. And then yeah, we're off. Jeff pummels Raven with a chair. Raven takes control. Raven then misses a running nothing and puts himself through a table, and that was a fucking table break and a half.
That was good.
But to win, you've got to drive your opponent through the table.
It has to be an offensive maneuver.
Yes. Raven is bleeding already. Then, for some reason, some random baseball players are ringside, and commentary keep talking about them as Jeff is literally setting up Raven bloodied up on a table, and he's climbing up for a massive swanton attempt off the top of the cage, and Don West and fucking Mike Tenay, they're just talking about the baseball players.
Yeah.
Like you're literally watching Jeff Hardy try and swanton off the cage. Anyway, Jeff obviously misses the swanton off the cage. He annihilates himself through the table that he set up with Raven on because Raven moves out the way, and the crowd liked that. Raven Raven then low blows Jeff. Jeff replies with a drop toe hold onto a chair. Jeff then scales the top of the cage again, but Raven swings the door open, which crotches Jeff. That was a pretty cool spot.
I like
Jeff
that.
then fucking dives off the top into a leg up counter from Raven. Raven then sets up a quadruple table stack. Listeners of previous episodes will remember that from the SummerSlam TLC match. Both men then climb the cage, but Raven gets knocked onto the tables from Jeff. Jeff then dives off to put him through the tables with a sort of leg drop maneuver for the win in 11 minutes and 51 seconds. So I also gave this one, like the last one, a 3 out of 5. I thought it was a nice, quick, bloody, violent match with two guys who knew what they were doing in terms of the style, and who ultimately have made their names for putting their bodies on the line for our entertainment, which I appreciate. So it was nice. The technical quality wasn't there, but obviously the entertainment value was, so I had a nice time. What about you?
I went 3.5 for this one.
Nice.
I had a blast. Again, like you said, this is, it's not a surprise with like two guys like Raven and Jeff Hardy. Like, they know their way around a cage. They know their way around like some weapons. But, it was nice to see them still kind of like give their all and not be just kind of like, yeah, we're here in TNA in front of 700-ish people. Fuck it. Who cares? I thought it was funny that there was like multiple points during the match. The cameras would cut to women who looked kind of like concerned or like distressed or whatever. And Mike Tenay would be like, hide the women and children. It's like, yes, we are... we are the fairer sex. We don't like to see things like this. We've come to this pay-per-view called Lockdown, in which we know all of the matches take place inside a steel cage, but we want them to just be friendly with each other and have a fun time and maybe have a conversation. So I thought that was a great way to try and alienate 50% of the population, but I digress. There was some really fun, dangerous spots. You pointed out as well, the crotch onto the cage door, I thought was really well done, because that could have gone really wrong.
Oh god, yeah.
But they timed it really well. Jeff sold it really well, and then the finish with the double leg drop through the stack tables was chef's kiss. Good job, Jeff.
Nice.
And good job, Raven. Just shame about their promo skills in the build-up to this one.
Yeah, absolutely. We get another short video package, this time to hype up Team Canada versus America's Most Wanted. It's meant to be a strap match in a cage for the NWA World Tag Team titles. We go to the arena and it's like, oh, we're going to get into it. But then they sort of... they're still cleaning up from the table mess from Raven and Jeff, and so it's like, oh no, we're not into it just yet. We're gonna keep on talking for a bit, and they clean it. They clean the ring, and then we're into it after a slight delay. Just weird on the broadcast, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah.
It's match 5. It's Team Canada, so it's P.T. Williams and Eric Young, part of Team Canada, with A1 again, versus America's Most Wanted, which is Chris Harris and James Storm. So it's for the NWA Tag Team titles. We start off fast and with no straps involved for a strap match. Some shenanigans on the outside with the cage door and a title bout shot from, I think it was A1 that did that. James Storm is now alone in the ring fighting the Canadians, and his partner, Chris Harris, is on the outside just getting ruined by A1 every now and then and can't get back in. So he's locked out for the time being, basically. Team Canada used the American flag as a weapon, and then they're just like, yeah, America, fuck America. Harris tries his best to get back into the cage, but Eric Young fucking just torpedoes himself into the cage wall, and that just flings him off. That was really cool. Harris then manages a comeback and then finally manages to enter the match properly. Meanwhile, his partner James Storm is like bloodied up and fucked up in the ring. AMW hit a heart attack for a close fall. Team Canada then hit a sharpshooter and elbow drop combo move for another close fall, which looked pretty cool. Harris hits a huge spear on Williams for another 2 count. Williams then recovers and hits Harris with a hockey stick for another 2. Team Canada then try to use some like white powder mixture, but then it's blown back into P.E. Williams' face, who then hits the Canadian Destroyer on his own partner because he's blinded. Oh no. AMW take advantage to hit the death sentence to win and retain their titles in 14 minutes. I gave this one 3.5 out of 5. I enjoyed this. It's match of the night so far for me. Some real nice heel and face dynamics. I do think they over-relied a little bit on Harris being alone on the outside. It maybe went on a little bit too long. Also, why the fuck make this a strap match when it pretty much isn't one? Like, I know they have tiny slips of straps and they use them a little bit, but it's not a fucking strap match, is it? Like, Jesus Christ, come on now. There was no point in making that part of the gimmick, and it probably lost, you know, a quarter star, even half a star because of that, because, you know, my patience is running thin. We've had so many gimmick matches and they're just not explained very well, or they're just pointless. It's just fucking ridiculous. And the last thing I'll say on this match is Petey Williams is a really good professional wrestler. So what are your thoughts, Sam?
Yeah, I went 3.75 for this again. I think so far, I know this isn't the only match I rated 3.75, but I think, like, if the 4-way espresso martini match is a 3.75, then this one's like a 3.76. You know what I mean?
Right, I get you. Yeah,
I liked the story of this match, with kind of like Team Canada being the less experienced sort of team. They used some heelish tactics to like isolate James Storm in the ring and take out Chris Harris. I see where you're coming from with the whole Chris Harris sort of angle went on a bit too long, but I did. On the other hand, I liked how it wasn't just sort of one spot on Chris Harris and then he was just like floored for 10 minutes.
That torpedo spot was creative and cool.
Yes, it was really cool. But it was that, and it was A1 like stayed on him and like kept beating him down. So it made sense for him to be out for that long, rather than just like he took a torpedo spot and then was fucking like his health bar was diminished completely. He got one shot, you know? I think like up until the point of Chris Harris returning to the match, it wasn't like spectacular in-ring stuff, but then it did kick up that kind of like gear or two when all 4 men were in the ring, and you could see that they worked really well off each other. The one thing that annoyed me was the finish was very similar to the previous Team Canada match, in that it was like the mistaken identity kind of thing, with the bag of cocaine. I did like the Canadian Destroyer on Eric Young, though. I like Canadian Destroyers anyway. I think they look really cool.
Yeah, it's my favorite move in professional wrestling.
That's your favorite? Okay. I don't know what my favorite is. I'll have to think about that. I'll come back to you. I'm going to go silent for the next 15 minutes while I think of it. But yeah, I think I can kind of forgive the finish being similar to the other match because the action beforehand wasn't complete fucking dross. But I think that's why I would have given Bobby Roode the win earlier, because you've had Team Canada now lose twice in the same night, and both times trying to give them a heelish advantage and they still lose. Like, it doesn't look the best for them. But other than that, like, the match was good. Eric Young and P.E. Williams are good. Yeah, both teams put in a good shift.
Absolutely. We then recap the Christopher Daniels and Elix Skipper feud. So, as I said, they were a tag team until they lost a cage match to America's Most Wanted in 2004, which isn't in 2002 like the video package mentioned, so that was a bit of a goof on TNA's part. And they lost that match, which meant they had to disband, unfortunately. The two former partners met in-ring last month at Destination X in the Ultimate X Challenge match for the X Division title. That's a lot of fucking X's.
Say X more.
Yeah. Daniels beat AJ Styles, Ron Killings, and Elix Skipper to win, and tonight is his first defense. So it's match 6. It's Elix Skipper versus Christopher Daniels for the X Division title. So both guys feel each other out in the early moments. They both try their finisher early, but stopped with some nice counters and mat wrestling. Both guys obviously know each other quite well in the ring. And the ring, I noticed as well, is now stained with the blood from the earlier matches. They've not been able to wash it out, which I don't know. It gives a bit of a morbid but cool quality to it. Both men continue their counters until Skipper ends up getting some control with some suplexes and a close fall. But Daniels then runs him shoulder first into the cage wall. Skipper starts selling that injury, and that's all that Daniels needs. He's immediately honing in on that arm and takes advantage and targets it. Daniels hits a Northern Lights suplex into a cross arm breaker. That was a fucking lovely move and a smooth transition. He's fully in control now. Daniels hits a hammerlock belly to back suplex, also a lovely move for a close fall, before going back to immediately working the arm. He's working the arm. This is really good ring psychology work from both guys, really. Skipper manages to fight back. He hits a lovely spinning heel kick and a elevated leg drop for another 2 count. Daniels then replies back with the best moonsault ever for a 2 of his own. Daniels then goes back up to, I think, the top turnbuckle. And Skipper recovers and crotches... Oh, no, it's on top of the cage, sorry. Skipper recovers and crotches Daniels on top of the cage, only to head up top himself and flies off with a forearm to both Daniels and the referee. So Daniels came down in the meantime. That was a fucking insane move. And the referee, unfortunately, got bodied as well.
He just threw himself.
He did. And that earned him another close fall. That wasn't even the fucking finish. Oh, Daniels then manages to hit the Angel's Wings after a couple of attempts and a counter struggle to win and retain his title in 15 minutes 28 seconds. So I gave this one a 3.75 out of 5. I thought it was a really good match. Both guys can go. They obviously know each other quite well. Technical level, mat base level, really good. The cage was also used sparingly as well, which I appreciated. There was only a couple of cage spots, and most of it was like their athleticism off the cage, like with the fucking insane forearm. So the psychology and selling was on point. And it was good overall. So 3.75. I flirted with the idea of a 4, but I went with 3.75 ultimately because above average. What about you?
Well, you may have flirted with the idea of a 4. I took the 4 to bed. I went 4 for this one. I actually made a note as well that I enjoyed the fact that there wasn't an over-reliance on cage spots in this one. Not that the feud didn't necessarily need it, because I do think that this was maybe one of the meatier feuds involved. Like, they had been a team for so long, and they showed that in the video package, the way they were devastated about the team having to split up from that tag match against America's Most Wanted. And then Christopher Daniels just basically is like, you know what, fuck you. But yeah, I think both these guys are so good that they don't necessarily need to be relying on the cage to make things look brutal. The flying everything from Elix Skipper off the top into Daniels and the ref was nuts. Like, I don't know what he was attempting, but he was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna throw myself and see what happens. That was great. Both guys wrestled their asses off, which no surprise. I thought the middle of the match was a bit slow once Christopher Daniels kind of started focusing on the sort of arm and shoulder, which I guess, like you said, ring psychology. I understand, and it kind of plays into Daniels' character of being cerebral and quite precise with what he does and whatever. I just think sometimes it can slow down a match when it starts off so hot and finishes off the same as well. That was my only kind of like about it. But other than that, this was so good. This was match of the night overall for me. The final 2 matches I enjoyed, not as much as this. This was match of the night.
Okay, fair enough. We're backstage again, and it's Dusty Rhodes again. He's drawing the entrance for Lethal Lockdown, which is literally the next matchup, so this segment is sort of pointless. Anyway, he draws the third entrant, which is The Outlaw. And if you don't know who The Outlaw is, it's Billy Gunn or Mr. Ass or Daddy Ass. Then he calls for his 2 assistants to bring their asses back. And I was like, okay, Dusty.
One of them's just moonsaulted off a cage, Dusty. Chill.
Yeah, right. Come on, man. Into the video package, hyping up Team Jarrett versus Team Nash. With the main feud, sort of, was DDP and Jeff Jarrett. Jarrett's the NWA World's Champion right now. And he's got a target on his back and he's a bit of a dick. So there you go. It's match 7. It's Team Nash, which is Sean Waltman, BG James, and DDP.
Spoilers.
Versus Team Jarrett. Versus Team Jarrett, Jeff Jarrett, The Outlaw, and Monty Brown in Lethal Lockdown. Waltman and Jarrett start off the match, both in their street clothes, and they're bringing weapons into the arena. And during Jarrett's entrance, Waltman just fucking charges him and they just brawl in the crowd for a little bit. A countdown has started, so in 5 minutes, a new entrant will come in. Okay, then. Both men get into the ring with 2 minutes left on the countdown, pretty much. They've been brawling. And then the Outlaw comes out. Woo, yeah. And then a 2-minute timer starts and just like, okay, so the next entrant is 2 minutes in. Thank you for telling us. I don't think they told us before.
They didn't.
I saw it come up. Jarrett and the Outlaw both double team Team Waltman and take control of the match, obviously. It's a bit like a Temu War Games, this is.
Yes.
Until DDP comes out to even the odds. He wails on the Outlaw and Jarrett with a kendo stick, and some of it's like splintering away. He's not fucking holding back those kendo stick shots. Some fucking gnarly shots in there. And then the Outlaw low blows DDP, and then Monty Brown enters for Team Jarrett, bringing a baseball bat in and just fucking everyone up. Team Jarrett now firmly in control. It's 3-on-2. They've got like kendo sticks, they've got sheet pans, they've got bin lids, bats, and they're just messing up DDP and Waltman. And then I've already spoiled it, but it's Nash's replacement and the final man. It's meant to be this whole like, oh, mystery man. It's BG James, who is Road Dogg. Yeah, okay. So Jarrett goes out of the cage to meet him, but ends up eating shit, and then the camera just fucking moves away. James then chucks some bins into the ring, and now suddenly all 6 men are in the cage, and then the match, I guess, officially gets underway. You get a face-off with BG James and the Outlaws, who were formerly the New Age Outlaws, as you might recall in our 2000 reviews, but they hesitated and sort of froze up and nothing happened.
They got scared. They still love each other.
Yeah. Monty Brown then just annihilates everyone with his pounce spear, which looked really fucking good. But then DDP breaks up a pin attempt. DDP then manages to hit the diamond cutter on Jarrett, but then the Outlaw breaks up that pin attempt. Monty Brown and Sean Waltman mess up the finish a little bit, and then they sort of reset for 30 seconds. They recover, and then Waltman rolls up Monty Brown to steal the 3 and the win for Team Nash in 15 minutes 35 seconds. Post-match, we get a little bit of brawling, and then BG James and the Outlaw just stare at each other like lovers through a cage.
I can't quit you.
I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. It was fine as a glorified sort of hardcore 6-man match.
Yeah.
Really, we didn't need the countdown and the entrance and the draws and all that. It was just pointless. The finish also being a fucking roll-up in a match that's so violent is one of the stupidest things on this fucking show, and that's saying something. Kevin Nash being out, despite being part of the story, I think hurt the match too. I know it's no one's fault, but it hurt the match. Ultimately, it probably would have been better as a one-on-one between Jarrett and DDP with like interference or something. I don't fucking know, but anyway. What are your thoughts?
I gave this one 3.5 stars, Jack.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you know what it reminded me of? You know when you go to like, it's like your cousin's 9th birthday party, and they've splashed out for a bouncy castle, and all of like your uncles and like your older cousins and your dad and whatever get on the bouncy castle after a few drinks and just start like battering the shit out of each other. That's what it felt like. It was a hoot and a holler. I'm a big fan of Monty Brown. Marcus Corvon, for those of you who might remember him in ECW, probably not. I was so let down by the final entrant though, because the countdown timer, it got to like 10 seconds or whatever, and you could hear people in the crowd chanting, "We want Sting." And I was like, oh shit, maybe it's going to be Sting. Maybe Sting will be the third man. And then you hear fucking whatever his music is, and it's Road Dogg. Cool, man. Yeah. I will say, ever since watching this match, like whatever it was, like a week ago, Jeff Jarrett's entrance theme has been stuck in my head, and it will not leave. Just that freaking it's just, it won't go. It won't go. No matter how many times I listen to it, it just gets further entrenched. Again, I was pleasantly surprised by the effort put in by the workers involved, because it was like, these guys who have been in the Fed before and maybe are just a bit like jaded and don't really care and are there for a paycheck, especially when Kevin Nash's name is kind of hovering around. You're like, these guys aren't going to give a fuck, are they? I thought Sean Waltman trying to do the Bronco Buster twice and fucking it up both times because the cage was too close was hilarious. But yeah, I took off 0.5 star for BG James and the roll-up finish. So this would have been 4 stars if we had Sting and a Scorpion death drop finish maybe. But yeah, I just thought it was a laugh. It was just, it was the fellas. Just, your uncles having a few too many cans of Guinness at the barbecue, forgetting to take off their shoes, and now you don't get your deposit back for the bouncy castle.
Would you like to hear my rebook attempt for this?
100%. Does it involve Sting?
It doesn't. So
then I don't care
This is
anymore.
the thing. I know. Well, the thing is this is like one of the smaller changes I think I've made. And I considered going a bit wilder and changing the whole mystery man thing and all that.
There's still time.
My rebook is using all of the participants that in real life. Okay. I'm not blowing the match up or swapping anyone out, but I'm going to change basically how it ends because it was, oh God, that fucking pissed me off. And I wanted to set up a bit of a future feud as well. So we've just watched 15 minutes of these dudes beating the fucking piss out of each other and caving each other's heads in, right? So it shouldn't end with a fucking roll up from fucking X-Pac of all fucking people.
Yeah, I know.
And then of all people to take the pin, it's Monty Brown.
It's Monty Brown,
okay,
yeah.
Fucking come on. Right, so that doesn't happen. So we keep most of the match. Monty Brown can still run wild with his pounces. He can be the fucking standout star from this match, right, that you want. DDP can still like hit his cutter and have the close falls and stuff. But right at the death, right, we take a breather and we do a little bit of storytelling. Because TNA just fucking rushed to the finish, right? You do a little bit of fucking storytelling, right? Jarrett, who is the champion, he thinks he's got it won. Everyone's down and stuff. He lines up like a really groggy DDP, and he lines him up on the other side of the ring to Monty Brown, and he's screaming at Monty Brown to just fucking pounce him like he's never pounced anyone before, and finish the job because they're in control. Brown charges. DDP obviously rolls out the way. Brown accidentally fucking pounces Jarrett, right? Clearly an accident, right? The Outlaw then panics. He goes to check on Jarrett, but who's he turning his back on? It's BG James, his old partner. Then BG James and the Outlaw, it feels so weird calling them that, but anyway, they go like nose to nose, but then they freeze again and neither of them can pull the trigger on one another. There's still fucking love there. They're like, oh fuck, we can't do this. So then Sean Waltman nips in behind, cracks the Outlaw over the back of the head with a sheet pan, then hits the X Factor for the pin and the win. So you still have the same winners as in real life. You can still have Sean Waltman fucking get the win. Fine, whatever. But there's no roll-up, and it's definitely not on fucking Monty Brown, right? And this is Nash's team, but Nash is sat at home with a staph infection eating his leg. So Waltman can then turn this into a bit of a lone wolf thing, which he does in a few weeks at Slammiversary. He turns up and he's just calling himself the lone wolf anyway, so you can just have Waltman be like, yeah, I fucking stole it because all of you were fucking pussies and you couldn't fucking finish the job and I'm the lone wolf, blah blah, whatever. Give him a bit of character. Yeah. So after the match, Team Jarrett are left in the ring. Jarrett's flat on his back staring up at Monty Brown, and Monty Brown is just staring back at him without extending a hand to help or offering an apology or anything, and he just walks off. Then off to the side, we get a similar to real life. It's just the Outlaw dragging himself up after losing, and he's looking at BG James, and James can't even fucking look at him in the eye anymore, and he skulks off sort of thing. Teams are falling to bits all around us. One because a monster doesn't really want to be tamed anymore, and the other because a guy can't bring himself to hit his best mate. Oh my God. DDP still gets to pass his torch, so he's been with the company for about a year and he's going to leave in a few weeks, and his main goal, as he's openly admitted, I think, was literally just to put over Jarrett and pass the torch to some younger talent. Now, Jarrett can then pass on the torch that DDP has passed on to him, onto Monty fucking Brown. You should be building your division around Monty Brown. And also, you can do it without the world title involved, because Jarrett at Hard Justice is going to face the winner of the main event of this show. And in real life, Monty Brown does accidentally pounce Jarrett in that main event, but because he did it at this event instead of Hard Justice, he can do it with a little bit more purpose at Hard Justice and do a proper like turn, right? And then you've got Jarrett versus Monty Brown as like a main event level feud. Jarrett can put over Monty Brown. You can have the champion win. Whoever the champion is will obviously come to that at the end of the main event. There you go. That's literally the rebooking.
Yeah, I like that. I'm a big fan of babyface Monty Brown. I always I'm a big fan of that, like, and I know it gets used a lot, but that archetype of like the muscle of the group being like, I'm not here to just take your orders anymore. Like, if I wanted to, I could snap you in half.
Exactly.
And I'm going to do that now. I don't know if I would add this, But what if you gimmick one of the sides of the cage so that when Monty Brown accidentally pounces Jeff Jarrett, he pounces him so hard, Jeff Jarrett goes through the cage? I don't know.
That's such a good addition, actually. Yeah, that's really fucking
just
cool.
That little thing of just, you're like, and then the crowd goes, oh my God, he put him through the cage. Like, and then,
what a moment.
You know what I mean? And I think that this show was kind of lacking in those big moments. Also, just like, those little kind of nuanced story beats. I think early TNA was missing those too. That they, like you said, they just kind of want to get to the finish and worry about the rest later. And a lot of the storytelling was done in like backstage segments or promos or whatever. When it's like, no, like there's so much storytelling that you can do in the ring, and just these bits of like a stare down or someone being unsure for a second, or just taking that half second to be like, am I sorry for what I did? Not really. And like you have that at the end with Monty Brown just kind of being like, yeah, I did that. Maybe it was accidentally. Maybe I was kind of glad that DDP got back up and moved out of the way, because fuck you, welcome to my world, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah,
then the second time it happens is for the title, and then it means a lot more. Yes. And then you know it's genuinely intentional because it's the second time. So there's a pattern. So yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, fill me once and all that. Yeah, no, I like that. I would have added Sting though, still.
Yeah. Well, it's because I still wanted the whole former tag partners that can't bring themselves. Like I like that little wrinkle to that story, and they didn't play it enough. And I think with both guys being as old as they are, even in 2005, and lacking in the ring ability in terms of Road Dogg anyway, Billy Gunn can go even now, right? So I just wanted more emotion and character work in there, basically. But yeah, I agree. The cooler thing would be to have fucking Sting show up, obviously.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think you've worked that one very well.
Thank you very much. So it's time for your main event. We get a recap of the upcoming main event, and it's Abyss versus AJ Styles. Basically, in this story, Abyss is the monster heel in TNA that just fucks stuff up, and AJ is the very talented babyface that sort of stands up to the monster, and he's like, hey, you can't do this shit. And the winner of this one will face Jarrett at the next pay-per-view, Hard Justice, for the NWA title. And spoiler, the person who wins the title. So there we go. It's match 8. It's AJ Styles versus Abyss. We start off with probably one of the best starts to a match I think I've ever seen. The first 2 to 5 minutes or whatever. Abyss does his entrance and he's really cool. He's got like chains and the lighting is really cool. AJ's already in the ring waiting. And we get this lovely shot, and it's from behind Abyss, and the cage door is open for him, and he's like outstretching his arms with his like chain around it, and the lighting's so great. And AJ's obscured for a moment, and then he just comes flying out of nowhere, out of the ring, and just starts fucking attacking Abyss on the outside. It's so fucking cool.
It was so sudden.
So sudden. Then Styles fucking slides under the crowd barrier, then jumps up onto it to hit a Hurricane Rana to Abyss on the outside. Fucking sane. And then literally 30 seconds later he hops over the crowd barrier from the ring steps, literally jumps onto a platform in the crowd. It's like 10 feet away, and then he dives back off that platform back over the barrier with a phenomenal forearm to Abyss on the outside. It's like, what the fuck? Abyss then manages to move out of the way of a charge on the outside ringside by AJ, and then he takes control and he just manhandles Styles up and down the crowd, stares in the crowd. Like, it's really, really, really good work here. I mean, the bell hasn't actually rung yet. Abyss then just absolutely cunts the cage door into Styles' face, who sells it like he's been shot in the fucking head. And he does that not once, but twice.
Yeah.
Styles is now busted open pretty fucking badly, and he's finally sent inside the ring by Abyss with a selection of weapons as well. Abyss gets in, the door is finally closed, and the match is underway officially, I guess, because there's still no ring bell. So, whatever. Abyss wraps a chain around Styles' neck and then hits a huge boot. That was a fucking huge boot as well. I've just written every like couple of lines. I'm like, this is some great shit. This is some good action. Styles just won't give up, and Abyss counters another charge by launching Styles into the cage wall, and then just does it again. and again. That earns the monster just a 2 count. Abyss then attempts a gorilla press slam, but is countered by Styles into a really nice smooth DDT onto the chain in the middle of the ring. Styles then hits a jumping enziguri and a head scissors before eating shit. Styles then hits a fucking German suplex on Abyss. He must be, what, like 320 pounds. Abyss runs into the corner. There's a chair set up in the corner. Abyss runs into it, and then that earns Styles another close fall. Abyss then manages a really cool looking black hole slam, but then Styles kicks out at 2. This then prompts Abyss to grab a bag of thumbtacks he has laying around, and he lays them out on the mat, and we get that beautiful glistening fucking silver thumbtacks in the ring. Oh yeah. He attempts another black hole slam onto the tacks, but Styles counters and somehow manages a Styles clash to Abyss into the tacks for another close fall. Styles then climbs to the top of the cage, but then Abyss just fucks the referee into the cage wall, which knocks Styles off the top, but he's like hanging on to the edge sort of thing. Abyss then meets him up there with the chain and literally wraps it around Styles' neck over the top. Yeah, he hangs him basically. And then for some reason, Abyss just removes the chain and throws it down back into the ring.
It's like, that's enough of that then.
Styles then manages a sunset flip powerbomb off the top into the tacks below for the pin and win in 18 minutes. This was my favorite match of the night. I gave it 4.5. Sam.
Wow.
It was an awesome match. Both guys gave their all, really got across their desperation to win. I think like this was just a match head and shoulders above any other on the card in terms of ability, stakes, drama, effort, like everything. You had the really nice dynamic of the small and nimble guy versus the monster powerhouse, which is always a good dichotomy. It's all good. The fighting outside was incredible and it was entertaining as fuck. And I think the whole match pretty much made AJ Styles look like a fucking stud.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
What about you?
I went 3.75 only because, yes, AJ looked like $1 million from this, and I think he made Abyss look really strong and scary. But I think, I don't know if this will make sense, but it felt like this main event was just AJ's match rather than like an Abyss and AJ match. Like, and that's not to take any credit away from either guy. It just felt like the focus was solely on what's AJ going to do and how's AJ going to get out of this. It was kind of, because like this is maybe only like the second or third TNA AJ match I've watched, and it's like when he got to WWE, he was able to run circles around everyone, and then you look at how he was 11 years before, and he's even quicker and even sharper. Yeah, and like that spot where he slides under like the ringside barrier was nuts. Like, I was looking at that gap and I was like, there's no fucking way. Like, how was he with his twinky little body, I suppose he's got under there, and then like Abyss yeets him off the ringside steps. He lands on the barrier, leaps like a cat over the crowd's head and then onto a platform, and you're like, what is this? Like, you get the cage door being yeeted into his face, similar to, I'll always refer to it as the JBL trash can into Hornswoggle spot. Like, he gets fucked up. Did he blade, or did he genuinely get cut open?
Oh, I have no idea.
Because you don't see like an opportunity for him to.
No.
And it was a wall of steel. I love the thumbtack spot. I'm a whore for some thumbtacks. I love whenever someone pulls out a burlap sack, I'm like, if that's not thumbtacks in there, it better be some fucking glass. And it wasn't. It was thumbtacks. And as soon as as soon as Abyss laid it out on the mat, I was like, that's set up 100% for a Styles clash into those thumbtacks. And we weren't let down. It was great. Yeah, I had fun with this. Like, I gave it 3.75. That's a good match. It's one of the highest rated on the show for me. I think it was presented like a main event as well, and especially the way you had that hot start where AJ knew, like, I've got to get at this guy straight away. Like, I can't let him close the door behind him and just have us be locked in. So I enjoyed it. I think AJ was the right winner. Obviously, if you've got a heel champion, you can't really have Abyss versus Jeff Jarrett as the main event because that's just weird. But yeah, it was a very solid main event for like a young company who are trying to kind of see, these are the kind of matches that they should have been having to separate themselves from WWE, not like fatal 4-way tag team elimination escape the cage match, like just put on different kind of wrestling and people will flock to you. Not everything needs to have like a crazy gimmick to it. Like even this show, like every match being inside a cage, you kind of get tired of it by the end. And it's the same with like when WWE used to do the Extreme Rules pay-per-view and it's like, well, this match is going to be a chairs match, and it's like, I don't give a fuck about a chairs match. I don't want to see that. But I think it was a solid show, especially with it being, like I said, a young company. There was definitely some hiccups, like production wise, like there were some spots that got missed by production. There was obviously the weird fucking roll up during the Bobby Roode Dustin Rhodes match, but I think they put on a solid show. Fair play to them, and fair play to Jeff Jarrett for being head booker, I guess.
What was your overall rating then?
My overall rating for this show was 3.25. I think it started off rough. I think there was, some choppy bits here and there. I think it got better as the show went on, which is always good. It didn't feel like it dragged. I think the fact that it was like just under 3 hours helped. Yes, you had your backstage segments in between matches and stuff, but they weren't super long. And maybe that could be a minus mark as well, that there wasn't really much storytelling done between matches or in the matches. But, I thought it was a decent show. It was better than Crown Jewel, so that's always good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I gave it 3.5 out of 5 as an overall show, and I think it mostly got bumped up just because of how much I fucking loved the main event. Yeah, and obviously I liked other matches as well, but I think if I'd put that main event in the 3s or something, then this show would have dropped down to like a 2.75 or something, because the gimmicks and the top match types and stuff just pissed me off.
Yeah, it was a bit much.
They were just bad at like broadcasting and communicating and all that stuff. So in ring was fine, but yeah, if I was like head booker or agents for the matches, I would have told them all to be like, stop for a couple of minutes each match and really get across who your fucking character is.
Yeah.
The company's on a hot streak right now. Like, they're going to be viewed as a genuine alternative to WWE. You need to capture that lightning in a bottle and stuff. And I think you do that by creating characters that people can not only like relate to, but fall in love with, hate as well. And just good wrestling and being an edgy alternative will only get you so far, right? So
yeah.
Anyway, I want to know your best dressed and worst dressed of the night, please.
Well, let me tell you, best dressed, it was fucking slim pickings out there. 2005 was not a great year for fashion, it seems. But I will give my best dressed award to Trinity because...
Oh man, I thought you were going to give it to Dusty Rhodes just for a laugh.
You know what, though?
He pulled it off.
I did want to say... Dusty Rhodes looked like someone's dad on holiday. Like, he had the kind of, like, the white flowy shirt. It was a bit airy.
Yeah.
I did like it. So maybe I'll give him an honorable mention.
Nice.
Because, yeah, it was very, like, dad's gone to the casino for the day kind of thing. But I thought Trinity, that Y2K fashion is very in right now. And she had, like, it was like the cargo pants. And then it was like a bikini top, like camo print. And then, like, the like fishnet over the shoulder thingy going on. So it was very Lita-esque. And then she pulled off that moonsault. I was like, I've got to give it to her. To look that good doing a moonsault is not easy. Worst dressed, oh my fucking god, Dustin Rhodes. Oh, he was wearing, it was like these shiny red, like the old Rey Mysterio pants, like the baggy, like PVC material with like black, like tribal tattoo pattern on them. He's wearing a t-shirt that's got like his face on it with the Texas flag painted on it. And then it says Lone Star State of Mind underneath. And then on the back it just says Nuff said. And it's like, well, that doesn't even make sense in this context. I feel like not every wrestling t-shirt has to have something on the back. And this really proved it. Like, you don't need to have the words "nuff said" on the back. What have you really said on the front? Explain yourself a bit more, actually, Dustin. I know he's had his issues with addiction and everything, but he just wasn't in great shape during this show either. No. So that kind of added to it. He just looked a bit slobbish, a bit like Taker at SummerSlam 2000. Just kind of looked a bit of a fucking mess. I get you. Yeah. So, do you know what I want to ask you, actually, Jack? and this has been on the tip of my tongue and the top of my mind. What made you pick this show?
Because I remember watching it, like, I don't know how old I would have been, maybe like 11 or 12, when I was like starting to get out of the WWE cookie cutter stuff, and I was like, oh, I still like wrestling, what else is out there?
Right.
And it probably would have been like maybe a year or two after the events actually happened, so it would have been 06, 07 maybe. And my brother used to get DVDs of TNA because he was into it, and he was a few years older than me. And I remember watching this, and I remember watching Unbreakable.
Oh, with the triple threat.
With the triple threat as well, from the same year. And I just have fond memories from around this time, and this is how I realised that the Canadian Destroyer was my favourite move in wrestling, because Petey Williams is just fucking insanely good, and he just hits it picture perfect every time, and it's just cool looking. Like, the X Division kept me entertained as well. Christopher Daniels was another one of my favourites. AJ Styles, I've loved him for fucking 20 years now. Like, it's insane. So yeah, that's and I wanted, because we've done mostly WWE and WWF and a smattering of AEW. I was like, you know what, in terms of North American wrestling companies, we've got to give TNA a say as well. I mean, I'm not really familiar with NWA or anything, so we could probably do some of those shows eventually, and I'd really like to get into New Japan. But yeah, TNA just it has a special place in my heart.
Fair enough. And I feel like TNA around that time was definitely like, it was like the older brother promotion, or like, you know, like your friend's older brother watched TNA, and you'd be chatting to your friend about Raw or whatever, and your mate's older brother would be like, "You're still watching that?" "No, I watch Impact on Wednesdays." Right. Like, okay, well, who's on Impact? It's like Christian Cage, Samoa Joe. You're like, I don't know those guys. Shut up.
But I think that's how we sound talking about AEW to most just normal wrestling fans nowadays. So yeah, the shoe's on the other foot now.
Yeah, it's true. It's like when I bring up the fact that I watch wrestling at work, and people are like, "Oh, what, like WWE?" And I'm like, "No." Not WWE.
Not anymore.
No, I watch
2 years ago. Yeah.
I watch AEW, and they're like, "Oh, what's that?" And I'm like, "It's like good wrestling." So shut up.
Yeah.
Do you want to know where we're going next week?
I'd love to know where we're going next week. Sam.
Well, Jack, I know summer is like coming to an end. It's going to start getting a bit colder, hopefully, thanks ChatGPT. I think we can still squeeze in one last trip to the beach. So grab your bucket, grab your spade, grab your time machine. We're going all the way back to 1991, the oldest show that we have ever done. We are going to UWF, and we are going to watch Brawl at the Beach, their first and last and only ever pay-per-view show, which is fully available online, and I will send you the link right after we finish so that you can watch it. Yeah, I saw Brian Zane uploaded a review of this show the other day. I just like read the thumbnail, and I saw the things that he had made note of, and I was like, I've got to fucking find this show, and we've got to review this show. This might make Crown Jewel 2018 look like WrestleMania X7.
Oh, fuck.
But on the plus side, this show is less than 2 hours long.
Oh, that's perfect.
Well, it'll be a breeze. Don't worry.
Sign me up. Well, lovely. I am looking forward to reviewing that, watching it first off, digesting it, and reviewing it with you next week. So this has been the Smart and Soul podcast. We have reviewed TNA Lockdown 2005. I'm Jack.
And I'm Sam. We'll see you next week.
Laters.
Bye.
1